attitude had a lot to do with it. Very positive. I had my faith in God. My family members just wrapped their arms around me. And when my daughter found out that I had breast cancer, of course she was a little bit, nervous about it. But I was telling her it's going to be okay. And I also have another daughter who's in Florida, who works at MD Anderson Cancer Center, who was really my backbone. And of course my husband, who's a man of few words, he just said, well, I'm not worried. Not until it recurs. So I said, well, we won't cross that bridge until we get to it. But I do have daughters. I have a granddaughter. And if it comes to that point where they are faced with this disease, I want them to always know this is not a journey that you have to take by yourself. When something like this happens to you, you take charge. So your attitude goes a long way, and I think that was my biggest thing that helped me to get through. Hope, prayer, much more praying, and it works out, all well and good.
After I was diagnosed, I called the American Cancer Society, and they put me in contact with Women of Hope Breast Cancer Foundation. And I knew that I needed a support group. Not everybody, a support group is not for everyone, but it has been a great help to me. I talk to people every week that's just newly diagnosed. I make sunshine baskets, which are baskets that are full of pink items that I give to these people. Anything I can find pink that has a breast cancer sign on it, I do it, And but that's kind of like my ministry in talking to these people. How my fight with breast cancer affects my family, because I never had any history of breast cancer in my family. My biggest problem, or what bothers me, is that now my family does have a history of breast cancer, and I feel like I started it. And but I've got my daughter. I have a daughter and a son, and I have 3 grandchildren, and then I have 2 sisters and lots of nieces, and so it really bothers. It concerns me that one day they might get it. And even if I had never been diagnosed with breast cancer, there's a chance that they could get it. So it's a scary thing, and but I hate that now they have that. They're more aware now of breast cancer, and there's probably more fear that they could get breast cancer because of me. If you're ever faced with that journey, what you have to do is face it, and then you have to embrace it, and then you have to live for today and do what you can to make things better.
Okay, I first found out I had breast cancer August the 5th, 2004. So it's been 7 years ago, and if someone would have told me 7 years ago that you're going to be getting an annual mammogram, or that you're going to be in a Survivor's fashion show for breast cancer, I would have said, I don't think that that's possible. You've got some details wrong there, but I'm a guy, and guys, we don't get breast cancer. You read about that. It happens somewhere else to someone else, but not here in Montgomery, Alabama. But when the Lord tapped me on the shoulder with those words, "You've got cancer," it changes things. And of course, I think about now my family, my daughter, my sweet little granddaughters, and wouldn't it be great to say one day we've eliminated breast cancer? And by creating awareness, by maybe me being that unusual sideshow of a man having breast cancer, I don't really want to stop then talking or interviewing or making any kind of statements about it. Had a lot of lessons learned during my battle with cancer. First of all, bad news travels fast, but that was all right because prayer support, it also kicks in fast. I've also learned you've got to have humor. A little nephew told his mom, or tells her every October, Uncle Dave has that gull disease. And then of course Shania Twain, she's singing my theme song, "Man, I Feel Like a Woman." She's speaking to me when she's saying that, but you've got to have humor. That helps get through, and having that, being able to laugh at whatever happens to us. And then the absolute power of prayer, the gift of faith, family and friends, all took on whole new meanings for me. It helped get past those tough days, and I can look back now and say, it really was a blessing to have heard those words, "You've got cancer." The blessing to have cancer because of the lessons learned, the learning to take the days a little bit, what they are, unimportant things really are that. They're little and unimportant. Focusing on those important things of faith and family, friends, and relationships. One of my pastors told me shortly after I was diagnosed with breast cancer, said, "You have a responsibility now to share that story because you don't know what the reason is and who you could help by doing that."
In the year 2000, I had ovarian cancer at the age of 42. And then in the year 2009, I found out that I had breast cancer. My daughter is 23.
And she was tested for the...
And she was tested for the BRCA gene.
Why?
Because I was tested also for the BRCA gene after we found out that I had breast cancer. So of course this kind of also relates to having a daughter. They wanted to test her also.
And it was positive?
And it was positive. We have the BRCA gene 1. Well, we were actually hoping that it wouldn't have passed to her, because usually they say that it skips a generation. But of course it did not. So I'm hoping that when it comes time for, I have 2 granddaughters, one from my daughter, and then my son has a daughter also. So we are hoping that they will test, when it gets time for them to have that test, that they will be shown where it's negative. It's a wonderful thing that they've actually gotten this far where they can test for this gene. I'm just hoping that, with this, with all the medical research and everything, that they've come a long way now. But I'm hoping that, they could at least find a cure for breast cancer, especially where, the gene is concerned.
Jenna, who do you know that has had breast cancer?
My grandmother.
And she died before you were born. So why is it important to do what we're doing right now?
So people can't die from it, and to help educate people about breast cancer and to support it.
Okay. And what are some ways that we educate people? What are some different ways that we can educate people?
The common races.
The common races?
Stories in the newspaper and on television.
And why is it important for me and later you to start getting testing done?
So we can prevent having breast cancer.
So that we can make sure that we are what?
Healthy.
And why is it important that we find a cure for breast cancer? Why is it important that your Mia does what she does?
So my baby sister or my brother won't get it.
Show me what's on your wrist.
A breast cancer power balance, power force.
What do you call your grandmother? What do you call Mia?
The boss of breast cancer.
Why?
Because she always stands up and tells people stuff, and I always think that, and she always gives out bracelets, and they always give out stuff, so I always think she's the boss of breast cancer.